welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy and today's Casing the Catalogue comes straight from the MINI Catalogue. Now we are casing from page 5 using the Peaceful Moments bundle, this one just here. This is the card. I love at the beginning of the catalogues now we have all our bundles all together. Not only does it make it a little bit easier for everyone, but it also gives us more card samples as well. So this is the card. Let me bring it in and show you. Isn't this amazing? It's a Sympathy card. Let's get over to the craft table and we'll get started. The supplies needed for today's card are the Peaceful Moments bundle. You can purchase these two together in the bundle, save yourself 10%. A really great saving. We also have the Perennial Essence Designer Series paper. This is in the annual catalogue. Really pretty colours. Let me just show you some of that pack. There we go. And for this card we are using the Mossy Meadow green colour, which I'll just bring that in. This one here, it's a really pretty green. Inks are Blackberry Bliss, Mossy Meadow and Old Olive. Also using Versamark ink and the Whisper White embossing powder with the heat tool. And I have the clear and frosted epoxy droplets as well. The card kit's here all ready to go, and you can find all the measurements in and supplies for this project over on my blog. There is a link to that blog post in the description of this video as well. So it's a Mossy Meadow card base, piece of that Designer Series paper. I have a piece of Whisper White which is going to go inside the card there. We have a piece of Fluid 100 watercolour paper. Now this is for the background, the solid pieces of our poppies. Also have a bit of scrap of Blackberry Bliss for our centres and a piece of Whisper White for the detailed area of our poppies. So let's get started. I'm going to bring the Big Shot in first and do some die cutting. We have quite a bit of die cutting on this card. And everything's pretty much die cut out of the watercolor paper and the Whisper White. So in the watercolor paper, let me bring these dies in. We're going to need the solid of the two poppies, so the large solid and the small solid. We're also going to need this little bud one here and this one that actually goes with the bud. So let me just show you, we need 3 of those on this card. So we have 1, 2, 3, and also need the solid of the leaves. So this one here, and we're going to need 2 of those to die cut out. So let me just place all these on, run that one through, and we'll get all our pieces out of the watercolor paper. So on the regular piece of Whisper White, we have the 2 detailed poppy dies. They're just going to run through with the plain Whisper White. The last little bit of die cutting is with the Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and I want 2 of the large centres and 1 of the small. So let's quickly do that one. So there's lots and lots of die cutting on this card, but I think it's so worth it. It comes together so beautifully. So let's bring in all those little pieces. We have the Whisper White large. We have the detailed in the small one, Whisper White. Large and small in the Fluid 100. 2 sets of the larger leaves. 3 small leaves for the bud, and then 3 buds. Okay, lots of colouring in now, and we're using watercolouring for this technique. I have an aqua painter, and what we're going to do, hang on, let me bring that card in so you can see exactly what we're colouring and how we're colouring it. So we're using the petal pink to colour in the main flower, and I didn't say petal pink. So petal pink is also the other colour that we're using. I didn't pick up on that. So I've just popped a little bit in the inside of my lid. And I'm going to pick that up. And I'm just going to colour in. Now this is Fluid 100 watercolour paper, so it takes the water really well. I'm going to come back and colour that in a little bit darker in just a minute. The large one as well. Now I didn't go right to the very edge all the way around, that just creates a little bit more depth with the flower. So I want a little bit more colour, just for a bit darker in the centre. See, that's just a little bit darker in the middle. Same with the larger one. You can wait for it to dry in between and it will change the colours a lot more. Okay. I'm going to move over to the large leaves, and we're going to bring the old olive in. So I'm going to create a little bit of a well in my lid. I also want to clean off this aqua painter because I've still got the petal pink on there. So I'm just using a baby wipe to get rid of that colour. So let's colour in these leaves. With the old olive first. That was a little bit dark straight up. Not the colour I was wanting. It's okay. So I'm doing this really roughly. I like the look of it not being perfect. We are going to come back in with the Mossy Meadow as well to create that little bit more depth in colour. Okay. While we've got that old olive out, let's just do those leaves for the buds. A little bit of the depth using the Mossy Meadow. So this is a lot darker. So I'm going to come in, just give it a little bit of extra colour. Now nature's not perfect, and that's what I like about this, is I can pop it anywhere and it's still going to look like it belongs. A little bit extra colour in there. Now I didn't get enough colour on these ones. They have dried enough now. So let's bring that petal pink back in, because we do need to do our buds as well. Let's come back in. And I'm just going in the centre there. Lastly, we're going to put a little bit of that Blackberry Bliss inside the middle of those flowers. Now you don't want a lot. You don't want to overpower it with that colour. Let's bring some of that colour in. So I'm just going to do around the centre. Now what I've done has been really quick, really easy. You could certainly spend a lot more time and effort on them to make them not look as rough if you don't like that look. I'm going to move on to our designer series paper while that dries, and we're going to heat emboss that sentiment. So I have that already on the block. It is with Deepest Sympathy. Using the Versamark ink, we're going to heat emboss with Whisper White embossing powder. So I'm going to pop that. Actually, I want the lighter of the green down the bottom. Let's put that down there. Actually need to buy some more white embossing powder, I think. I didn't run my embossing buddy over, but it actually didn't have too much stray powders there. I'm going to heat the heat tool up and melt that powder. So we're right to start popping everything all together. So I'm going to glue that designer series paper straight down onto the Mossy Meadow cardstock. That is our card base there. Isn't that beautiful? Just going to put some Tombow Mono glue all the way around. I did go over the edge a little bit, so I'm just going to turn it over and use my paper snips to cut off that excess bit. Now I'm popping up the detailed dies pieces up with some dimensionals. Now for the smaller one, I'm going to actually cut down a bit of the dimensional bones. This is on the mini dimensionals, so just a little strip there. There's a nice little spot there for that strip. And just popping that down. Popping dimensionals on that back of that larger detail. And I'm just going to use some Tombow glue for that smaller centre. And a mini for in between the two other centres. So these are going to be actually offset so it looks fuller. Let me show you. So I've offset that, and I'm just going to pop that down with some Tombow glue straight down to our centre. Going to work on those little flower buds next, and we're just gluing those straight onto our leaves. So both of our poppies are going to be popped up, so I'm going to stick some dimensionals on that. I'm going to actually use the normal size dimensionals. Just because there's more surface area there. So now it's all about making sure you have everything in place so it's not hanging over the card. And our little buds are going to come in off the side. So I'm really happy with that. I'm going to firstly glue these large leaves down. And I can pop these dimensional backings off. Alright, to stick those down as well. And lastly, our little blossoms here. Just so cute. Now you have two options for your Poxy Droplets. They come in clear and frosted. I have put frosted on this one. I'm going to do frosted again because I think it actually looks really nice in the frosted. I'm going to stick a large one over this side. And then two smaller ones. They come in two sizes, large and medium, I suppose. One down here. There we have our card. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. If you have, please give me a thumbs up and I'd love it if you left me a comment. Don't forget, all the measurements and supplies can be found over my blog, and there is that clickable link in the description of this video. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.